Hey everyone, yesterday in the mail I got the Masters of the Universe book. Yeah, that's really what it's called, the Masters of the Universe book. Then there's a little subtitle, The Epic History of He-Man, She-Ra, and the Masters of the Universe. So I've been going through this. This is a pretty cool book. It's not particularly impressive considering the type of coffee table hardcover He-Man books we've gotten in the past, but it's still like a really nice book to have, and I can definitely recommend this to anybody who's a fan of Masters of the Universe or anything in the franchise. So anyway, some really nice artwork. This was published by Dorling Kinserly, who is well known for the Star Wars encyclopedias. They have very nice image quality in their books, very nice layout. Everything about them is just very much, a lot of quality went into this. So then, let's see, we get a introduction by Simon Beecroft, and then this was kind of neat. We get like a little timeline of important events, which some of these are pretty interesting. However, later on, like in the 90s and 2000s, where there isn't a whole lot going on, it just says like second year of the Classics line, third year of the Classics line, and that's all there is for the whole year. And in the 90s, they had this one fan website started, this other fan website started. And then, let's see. Oh yeah, 2018, it mentions the Netflix DreamWorks She-Ra show, and that's the only mention that show gets in the entire book, which is very strange, considering what a big part of the franchise it is now, and it was probably like what started this whole resurgence of Masters. But anyway, onward to Origins, but not the toy line. They just mean Origins of like the franchise itself. They have a bunch of neat pictures of concept art and really early prototype figures. It's all really cool stuff. A lot of this is stuff that I've already seen in the previous He-Man books, like the Art of He-Man book. And then there's stuff like this. Whoops. Whole bunch of picture list of toys, and it's really cool. But I'm thinking this is probably from it probably goes more in depth in the Toys of He-Man encyclopedia, which I don't have, so I can't confirm if these are taken from that or if this is redundant if you have that, because I don't have that particular book. Anyway, interior of Grayskull, that's pretty cool to see. Let's see, we got a section about toy packaging, the mini-comics. Oh, there is some behind the scenes of the mini-comics, that's pretty cool. I don't think we saw much of that in the Art of He-Man book. Oh yeah, then there's a section about the original animated series. Some behind the scenes of that. I'm kind of conflicted because I already know a lot of He-Man history, so a lot of this is very redundant. It doesn't really feel like I'm learning anything new. There is a little bit, a few little tidbits here and there, but for the most part, this is all stuff that I've heard over and over again from watching the featurettes on the DVDs, from reading other He-Man books, from reading interviews with the people involved. But yeah, anyway, the image quality is really nice, and it does a really good job of giving an overview of everything, even if it is kind of broad. But yeah. Oh, this is something unique. They actually have a section for the little in today's story segments from the end of the original cartoons, and they even have one of my favorite ones with Ram Man there.
Ramming things may look fun, but it really isn't. Trying to use your head the way I do isn't only dangerous, it's dumb.
I love that one. Oddly, they don't do that again for She-Ra, even though She-Ra had its own little moral messages things at the ends. So anyway, we get overviews of all the major characters, and that's pretty cool to... Let's see, Slime Pit. Oh, and this was a cool thing. A bunch of weird collectible merchandise. We have there was a He-Man record player. Yeah, that toilet looking thing is a record player. A lunchbox, lunch bags, like just plain lunch bags. What else is weird here? This, like, stamp thing. Oh, bubble bath. It's a bubble bath topper. That's funny. See, a bunch of weird old He-Man merchandise. Let's see, then there's a section all about She-Ra. That's pretty cool. Yeah, and it's basically the same stuff that was in the He-Man section. Going over the show, the characters. Let's see. Yeah, pages are stuck together. Then we get a little section on the villains there. There was a bit of cool stuff for the villains that I don't recall ever hearing before, and some some concept art I don't remember seeing, so that was kind of a neat thing. Oh, and then we get a section all about the movie, and there's a really weird thing with the movie section. Let's see. But there's the poster, a mini comic, some of the toys, some concept art, some more concept art, and some stuff about what went into the concept art, some more concept art, and then that's it. There's 0 images from the live-action movie. It's all concept art, a mini comic, a poster, toys, nothing else, which is very weird. I would have expected to see at least like 1 or 2 promo images from the movie, but it's not in here. And that was my first clue that I'm wondering if this book was rushed at all, or if there was like some copyright issues or like permission issues, like they couldn't use certain images or something. I don't know. But anyway, then we have a thing about Masters of the Universe books and comics. Like right here we have the DC comics, the original DC comics. Oh, and then there's a thing for yeah, again, toy poster. Oh, and this is kind of cool. The newspaper comic strips, which again, the newspaper strips have their own book that goes far deeper in depth to what they were about. And then there's a bunch of books. I actually have some of these. Oh, and then we have this thing. This was a really cool thing. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Let's see, this was a, okay, this was, like a poster made for a magazine by Earl Norham. It's really cool. It's really fun to look at this, especially because it was like a kind of a Where's Waldo type of thing, where there's this magic lake that reflects things in a weird way, and the goal is to figure out like all the things wrong in the reflection. So it's really fun to look at, especially since yeah, I've never seen that before. I'd love to see them reprint stuff like this from the old He-Man magazines, because those are so hard to find, but they're so much fun. A while ago, I found one that had coverage of the live-action movie, and there was a comic in there. It was really cool, but it was missing the middle page. Man, that sucked. I really want to know how it ended, but you just can't find the whole magazines anywhere. So anyway, that leads into the She-Ra books. Oh, and a Secret of Power book, which I actually have that lying around somewhere. Oh, and then that's it for that. And then we get He-Man Returns, which, yeah, from the image there and the toy of Stratos, you'd think they were talking about the 2000s, but no, it starts off with New Adventures. And New Adventures has quite a few pages. I wonder why they didn't just give it its own section. So anyway, this is really cool. We get a toy list of a bunch of New Adventures toys, which I think may be in the toy encyclopedia. I don't know, but this is still really cool, and I really appreciate this because I'm missing a couple of these guys, so this is really helpful. And then we get a thing all about New Adventures Playsets there. Man, they had some really cool stuff, didn't they? It's too bad all this stuff is rare and, like... Sorry about that, I had to go do something. So, where was I in this? I was in the New Adventures section, right? Okay, yeah, there. Anyway, I was talking about these playsets here. I'd love for if, like, the Origins line spread out into doing, like, the New Adventures stuff. That would be really cool, because I'd love to see these remade. Because these are kind of fragile with how old they are. I got a figure of Slushhead, and his arm, like, immediately broke. That was disappointing, anyway. Then we get the 2002 line of toys. Man, these were really cool. I remember when I was a kid, these things were just the coolest thing in the world. Then we get the, what was it, MVC comic book, some stuff from that. Yeah, come on. And then that moves right into the classics line. Okay, yeah, they just skip right over the 2002 cartoon. Like, it gets a mention. Oh, okay, yeah, so there. Along with the comics, it gets a mention there, and that's it. I guess they don't consider it important or something. Whatever. Anyway, classics line. Let's see, classic Grayskull there. Oh, and then we get a bunch more, like, weird He-Man merchandise, including this baby Skeletor, which I think I remember seeing that before. Then we get the DC comics, which, some of them are good. And then we get this thing, A New Era, and we have a bunch of frickin' Revelation crap there. But turn the page, and at least we start with something good. We have the Super 7 Filmation toys. Those are really cool. Love those. I wish I could find some of those. And we have the packaging art for the Origins toys. This is really cool stuff. I really like this artwork. And we get even more artwork. Holy crap, there's a lot of artwork here. It's really amazing. And then here's Revelation. And we even get a little introduction about it because it's so important. And here's some stuff from Revelation. More stuff, including a Beast Man that we don't see much of in Revelation. Teela with her dumb hair, her friend who's okay, and then it does move on to Masterverse, the toys, which are based on Revelation, so I'm not the biggest fan. But then we do end on something nice, which is nice and refreshing. The CGI series. So there's the characters from that. That's pretty cool to see. The images are like really dark for the CGI series for some reason. I don't know why they picked such dark images. Okay, here's something a little more colorful. Here we've got the villains, some little bios about them, and that's kind of cool. And then it ends. That's it. Nothing. Yeah, the Netflix She-Ra completely left out, and since there's no DreamWorks logo on the back of this, I'm guessing, I don't know, maybe there was some kind of issue with DreamWorks that they weren't allowed to use any images of it, and they just decided to skip it altogether. Which is so strange, because it says, like, History of He-Man, She-Ra. Like, yeah, the She-Ra cartoon is definitely in the history of She-Ra, but yeah, aside from that, this is a really cool book. I kind of wish it didn't have anything to do with Revelation, but other than that, it's a cool thing. I definitely recommend it to any new fans, any old fans. It's a really high-quality book. That's all for this one. See ya.